I think we're gonna watch this video, boys. This one is called Why You Should Play Vanilla Era WoW in 2023.
It's hard to think that Classic WoW has been out almost 4 years at this point. That's a hell of a long time to still not have Thunder Fury. Since then, we've had the Burning Crusade, Wrath, Season of Mastery, and hell, I wouldn't be surprised if we have Classic Cataclysm announced by the end of the year, which is pretty nuts, to be honest. But what's more interesting to me is the current state of Vanilla Era WoW, which is currently going through what I can only describe as a complete resurrection. I have not seen Vanilla Classic servers this busy since Classic WoW launched back in 2019. It's insane. And if you're one of those people sitting on the fence and thinking about jumping back into Vanilla on a fresh character, or starting the game for the very first time, then this is the video for you.
I think it's... You can do it as like a sort of thing for fun, but I think for me as well, I don't know, a lot of people like the idea behind a fresh server and they want to have everything start at the same point. The thing about Era is that there is so many people with full biz gear, full max levels. There's, high level, rank 14 rogues camping Stranglethorn and such, right? But it is something you can do if you want to play like, classic Era just for fun and chill out with it and hang out. It's definitely like a good choice right now because there's a lot of people playing Era currently, and there's something about an MMO. Whenever there's other people playing it, it makes it a lot more fun, right?
Why? Because I have done just that.
Not yet, ask us.
Some time ago, I created a brand new character on a Vanilla Era server I'd never played on before. It was a completely fresh start for me, and since then, over the last few weeks, I've been leveling, running dungeons, being mind control down.
Yeah, I think you can probably expect a lot of this, right? Because from what I understand, there is a lot of these griefer antis on the Era servers, the PvP. I know there is like specific guilds that just grief levelers, so just keep that in mind, okay?
Chimneys, and generally having a fucking great time, to be honest with you. From that experience, I can absolutely confirm that Vanilla Era Classic WoW is booming right now.
That's cool, yeah, it is.
There are new players everywhere, running dungeons is a super smooth experience, and forming groups takes only a few minutes most of the time.
Damn.
I've just finished questing through Duskwood, and completing the many elite quests was easy because of how many other players were venturing alongside me.
That's good stuff.
Ready and eager to talk, group up, and get the job done. Obviously, I can't speak for the American servers because I play on EU, but I've heard it's the same over there. With a massive surge in new and returning players to the vanilla game.
Yeah.
The question here, though, is why? Why is this happening in the first place?
I think this is a thing that's happened for a very, very long time when it comes to Vanilla WoW. People play it, that there's a new server coming out, they blast it out, they pump it, and then like a year or two later, like a year later, they kind of like, the server is dying off a little bit, people are tired of it, and then a few months later, whenever people have stopped playing, they kind of get that itch again to play, and they kind of want, the fresh. They have the itch to play afresh. And even if there's not a fresh server, people would go to a thing like Era and level on an Era server because just to scratch that itch a little bit. It's a constant cycle of Vanilla WoW players that's continuing to just it just continues forever. It's the fresh win, right?
After all, Vanilla WoW hasn't had any new content since the original classic release. If you don't count the Season of Mastery, which was a bit, So why are people returning to play the game now? Honestly, I think it comes down to the nature of Vanilla as a game and what differentiates it from Wrath Classic
and good MMO.
WoW, which I think is where many players are coming from right now.
It's not an addiction, okay? It is not. It's just a good MMO that's very fun to play. It has nothing to do with being an addiction, guys, okay?
This could be summarized pretty simply as the journey is the destination.
Yes.
Now, we've all heard the meaningful journey shit when it comes to vanilla.
Dude, they're going all of them.
It's pretty accurate. World of Warcraft has never been a sandbox game.
Oh, he's getting carried.
Vanilla WoW is far closer to a sandbox than any subsequent version of the game.
Very true.
Leveling takes time. It fosters a bond between player and character.
That's good.
New spells and improvements in gear, as well as simple things like making the most of professions while you level, and using the auction house to build up the money.
See, it makes me... This is a big thing why I think Fresh will be a lot more fun, because look at this, right? Look at this down here. Want to sell Mara boost, 300 mobs, FFA loot. Want to sell Mara boost, CG, want to buy Dead Minds boost. All these things down there, That's why a fresh will be so fun. I know the server will probably end up like that anyway, because that's the nature of MMOs, especially like vanilla and like whatever the heck. But that's why fresh is so enticing, because all that stuff doesn't exist yet. You're in like a little, you're like in a little fantasy world where like everything is just great. Before all the bots, before all the gold buying and selling, GDKPs, all of that stuff. It's just good enjoyment, right?
For spells and
The Cal was fresh and it was dead after 2 months. Well, the reason why the Cal died was because Blizzard locked the server from making new characters, and then they made free transfers away from the server. Blizzard literally choked the Cal to death. Okay? They closed character creation on the server and they opened up free transfers away. How will a server like that survive? You can't make a character, and you are able to transfer away freely. Dude, that's just gonna kill a server, man. I mean, they literally killed the Cal.
All of these things make that journey
the
to
Cal was great.
Feel like much more of an adventure in its own right than in any other version of WoW. You don't log in
it's not my
just
fault.
to get to level 60. You log in because you want to play your character,
True.
regardless of what its current level is.
Your journey.
This feeling of adventure is only strengthened by the game's approach to cooperation
Yeah.
and interaction between players. There was a common misconception, which was heavily ridiculed before the release of Classic WoW, that vanilla was really hard, something which people quickly realized is not accurate.
Yeah. Actually, compared to a lot of the other MMOs back in the day, like EverQuest, and was RuneScape before this as well? Regardless, WoW was actually a very casual MMO compared to other ones. Even though people are like, oh, the rank 40 grind is crazy, like nobody's ever done that. Compared to other MMOs, that's nothing. Like, that is crazy. I think that the WoW vanilla hit like a good sweet spot with it being like kind of spurgy, but not. It was a good sweet spot between being like super casual, but also not, and also like a little bit sweaty, right? It was just quite good. It was like the average player could enjoy it, right?
Mechanically speaking, vanilla WoW is far simpler than any subsequent version.
Yeah, I do agree. It is triggering me a little bit that he's attacking every single mob from the front, okay? He's getting parried like out the wazoo.
The game. What people really meant was that vanilla is far less forgiving than modern WoW, far less solo friendly, and that everything takes more time. What this means for players is that working together is the best way to deal with many challenges presented by the game.
Okay.
You talk to people, you accomplish things together that, due to the nature of the game, would
cool
have been
MMO.
extremely difficult or impossible for you to achieve on your own, which makes the feeling of jolly cooperation all the more powerful.
True.
This is how bonds in games are made.
That's what MMOs are about.
Made. The reality is that I've added more new people to my friends list in the 2 weeks of playing vanilla WoW than they have in 2 years of playing retail. And
But that's because the nature of the game, the nature of Classic, what makes it so great is because it's such a good MMO. It's a good experience of like, interacting with players along the way. You want Classic Plus? I think a lot of people do want it. Again, I'm very much on the whole. I'm on the fence with it, right? Either I want complete vanilla, no changes with patch progression, with gear progression that follows the patches, or I want Classic Plus with maybe some custom, more talents, interesting talents, maybe some new dungeons like a Scarlet Crusade raid, maybe a Booty Bay dungeon. I would love to see them just actually go in like for a OS. Why do we always end up talking about Classic Plus? Oh my gosh, I would love to see them go down the OSRS route. Maybe do like some community voted stuff where people can get to decide on stuff themselves if it's like a heavily favored change. I think that could be so cool. I really think that could be a whole new. It could be a whole new chapter for like the classic WoW stuff, right? And Turtle WoW is a server that has done that quite successfully, being a private server even, right? Oeli, thank you for the 2 months Prime.
Much more likely
Thank you.
to keep adding people to the friends list, considering that they crop up again and again out in the because the servers aren't mashed together in a cross-realm system where you never see someone more than once. Okay, so we've gone over the meaningful journey and the focus on cooperation with other players.
Yeah.
These things are essential, but I think there's more to it than that, which makes vanilla so popular. I think that a big part of what draws people back to the vanilla game is the simple, honest fantasy of the game.
Yeah,
you play as a nobody, setting forth on an adventure to become a somebody in a world filled with fantasy races, tons of varied locations, and all manner of stories to explore. You don't
and
have
other
a
people
single
doing the same.
mind plot being forced down your throat at all times, nor do you have to constantly adjust your expectations
I
to
didn't
the
know
changing
Shukunin.
focus of the game's story and characters. All of this, in my opinion, serves to make the world feel much more realistic. It feels like a virtual
Very
world,
simple.
and your character is just one of many people in it, finding their place in that world.
Yeah, I like it.
Speaking of the world, it's just immense. You're not packed into a few small zones or a hub city all the time, but instead
That's
you're
true.
left to travel across vast distances, which only adds to that feeling of being in an actual virtual world.
Yeah, and I think that's what this did so great. It feels like a real world. Yeah, it feels like an actual area that you're exploring with other people playing the game. And that's why it's so important that in order for this to be a successful game, there has to be other people playing it, because you have to be able to run around and see people do the same things you're doing, because if you were just doing it all by yourself, it wouldn't really be a fun experience. I think the fact that you see other players around and like interact with them is what makes the game so great, right? That really is. I didn't see the Ole Logoi Death. No, I did not see that. And I haven't tried Turtle WoW myself. I've just heard a lot of people say good things about it, right? But yeah.
Rather than a condensed game level. I could go on and on, but to put it simply, people are coming back to vanilla WoW now because the game is timeless in a way that the other versions of WoW just aren't.
Truly.
You don't need a directed path of content or a new patch to consume for the game to be worth your time.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's one of the best games ever made, and it has aged better than any other game I can think of. In contrast to retail and the later stages of Wrath, vanilla offers a more sandbox experience, which I think...
And that's cool, yeah. Maybe Microsoft will just FF14 nuke retail, create WoW 2, but with old WoW still there being able to visit with the new came out fresh. That's not gonna happen. I see what you're going with, but there is no way that they're gonna do that. That is just not. That is like, I know Classic Plus is like copium a little bit, but that, like, the whole WoW 2 thing, that it would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I do agree. It would be really cool, but I just don't think it's ever gonna happen. Like, it's like, yeah, it's not gonna happen, man.
I think appeals to a large
the amount of shit that would start up in the player base, in the community, would be out of this world. It would be ridiculous, right? And whether you like it or not, retail is their big money maker, right? So, you know, at least in terms of WoW, like the whole WoW thing, right? Obviously they have other games too, but still.
The community who just want to explore and create their own adventures rather than being forced to play the game in a certain fixed way.
Oh yeah, compared to like Classic, for sure. Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
To be doing it the right way. In vanilla, the right way is what
I'm speaking about the WoW, like classic WoW versus, like, retail and whatever. Not in terms of the other games.
As long as you're having fun. Something which, in my opinion at least, got lost somewhere along the way to modern WoW.
Yeah, that's true. The game changed the bottleneck.
Because to me, the more people who come back to vanilla or get into it for the first time, the better. In an ideal world, I would love for this surge of interest.
How do you know? Twitch viewer numbers tell a different story. You cannot base Twitch viewer numbers in how well a game is really doing. I mean, overall, maybe you can, but that's not really how it works. Yeah, not really.
Result in Blizzard finally seriously looking at the prospects of additional content for vanilla WoW in the spirit of the original game. But even if it just means that we all get to experience true classic WoW together once more and revel in the magnificence of the game, then that's enough for me, and I hope you'll join me for the ride.
And as long as you enjoy the game
and you'd like to see more, I've linked a playlist to the whole fresh vanilla adventure for you. How convenient, right? I am a generous soul, aren't I? If you like the vibe of the channel, then I'd encourage you to subscribe, and if you don't, then you should probably run away as fast as you can, eh? Until the next episode, guys, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. I mean, good points. I mean, I think it's a very much of a reoccurring theme whenever we talk about these like classic fresh videos and classic era and stuff like that. I'm going to give him a sub a like the video. It's just about like the journey. It's about the MMO feeling such like an open world, and it's a good feeling, like playing a game that other people enjoy as well and seeing people out in the open world, right? It's just very, very nice.